So it turns out I'm a pretty sleepy guy. Now, this is at 33, this current moment. I'm recording this more for myself than anything else. But I'm done with the 4 a.m. wake up, sleep very little hours nonsense. This is not godly work. This is not intelligent. This is not wise. While I enjoy waking up early, I enjoy waking up at earlier than 8 a.m. I don't really need to wake up before that. I want to get enough rest to actually put in my good amount of work, a fair, normal, regular, non-hustle, non-workaholic nonsense schedule. 8 hours a day is honestly more than sufficient if I'm full-time, and honestly, it might be even too much if I'm really productive and actually effective and not getting interrupted. And so, first things first, getting on a good routine. With my mental health, I cannot afford to have these moments of brute force, high, miles per hour motivation just totally tank my ability to get to bed on time. And when I say on time, I mean, I'm not talking about getting to bed at like 7 or 8 p.m. I mean, that might still be early, but at the latest, like 11, right? 11 p.m. That's not a crazy amount of time for me to, and when I say get to bed, I mean like at least get into bed. Maybe I'm not falling asleep at 11. Maybe I still fall asleep at like midnight or whatever, but honestly, that might be too late. But the benefit of that is, and also the benefit of me owning my time, while I'm not gainfully employed in the sense that I don't work for somebody else, but I am blessed in that I work for myself. So there's nothing actually forcing me to get up at any particular time. I might have a client meeting here or there, but that doesn't happen frequently enough to justify me adding into my schedule a lack of sleep time. So me waking up at 4 a.m., that's gone, and going to bed at a reasonable time. As I said, nothing good ever happens after 9 p.m. So I'll strive to get to bed at like 9, and if I feel like doing a little extra work, well, I'll just save it till tomorrow, to be honest. I mean, there's nothing, generally speaking, and this is true for 90% of things, there's nothing that's actually going to make me stay up that late. And so if there's a task that I really can't get out of my mind, I'll just save it in my workflow inbox. That's what it's for. And then I'll add that to the thing that I want to do at some point the next day. At least it's recorded in some way. But my bedtime routine is very important, so dimming the lights, getting under candlelight, lighting a couple incense or an incense, maybe having an herbal tea or something and reading a nice book, not really watching any TV or looking at anything. I have plenty of books that I can read or reread, plenty of audiobooks that I can listen to, just kind of like really just be chilling with myself, just have some good alone time. Put everything on Do Not Disturb, or better yet, turn off my devices at a certain time. I mean, honestly, I'm probably going to get a physical alarm clock, just because the digital one, while it's good, it makes me use my phone, right? My phone does not need to be on 24/7. Instead, I should just turn it off and then use an analog alarm clock or a digital alarm clock that's a separate device. That way I'm, out of this whole screen environment. And that's my nighttime routine. Of course, getting out of blue light, putting up a blackout curtain, all that stuff. But then the morning routine is just as important. My morning routine, I can't spring out of bed and immediately start working. That just doesn't feel good. Sometimes it does when I'm super duper motivated, but most of the time I just want to start my day in peace and chill. Spend time in the Word, fortifying my relationship with God, brushing my teeth, like taking my sweet time, having a nice little time in the Word and eating maybe a light breakfast or something. And if I don't eat breakfast, at least drinking a nice tea like my yerba mate, and then easing into my day. And the best way for me to do that is actually to plan my day. The easiest way for me to plan my day, or the easiest way for me to go about my day, is just plan it out. I wake up, and while I'm sure that things will happen that will change my plan, it's much better for me to have a day plan than a night before. Like I don't like planning for the night before because I don't know, but like, you know, it does mean that I can take some time to think about, okay, how do I feel today? What do I want to do today? What are like the top 3 things I'd like to accomplish? Or what's the one big thing I'd like to work on? You know, this is not a cop out for me saying that I can't get multiple things done, but in reality, it goes back to, you know, yeah, I have multiple different businesses and projects that I'm working on at any given time. But if I try to do everything in one day, I'll be overwhelmed. So it would be better for me to just say, okay, you know, today I'm going to focus on one big project and a couple smaller little things. That way it's more manageable. Or if I want to get a lot of stuff done, I can break my day up into like almost like multiple work days, or at least 2 work days in the morning, you know, like maybe the morning hours, from, I don't know, like 9 to 11, or 9 to 12, basically 9 to the afternoon. I'll say, okay, that's that 3 hour block. I'm going to be focused on getting just like these priorities done. And then I'll take a break, right? Probably take like an hour long nap, to be honest, like a little siesta, read a book, go to a park, get on my bike, you know, maybe hit the gym, whatever it might be, in the middle of the afternoon. And that'll be a way to break my day up. I probably won't hit the gym. There's a whole reason for that in a minute, but definitely breaking my day up. Getting that nap, I think, would be great. Reading a book, just kind of like taking a break and kind of allowing my mind to rest for a little bit. Eating a little snack or what have you, and then after the nap, or you know, that little siesta of the day, then I have my second day, so to speak, where it's from like, I don't know, like 3 to say 7. You know, from 3 to 7, which is another 4 hours. I just do, you know, a much other smaller tasks that I can get done. And then I cut it at that point, 7 p.m. I'm done. And then from 7 p.m. To like 10, so 7 to p.m. I'll, you know, all right, I'll kind of decompress, maybe, you know, kind of clean up my inbox for whatever accrued that day, go through email or whatever, and then I'll get dressed in my gym clothes and I'll go to the gym, believe it or not, at night, not early in the morning. And then I'll work out. I'll do like a 30-minute little go to the gym, workout, ride my bike, whatever it is, to the gym, do the workout, and then come home. And now that I'm, you know, it seems crazy, but like now that I'm all like, my blood flow's going and everything, it's probably the best time for me to then wind down. So from that point, it's just, all right, now I'm going to go home, maybe, you know, eat something, right? Eat a little dinner. And then, maybe take a second shower in a day. I don't like taking multiple showers because it's just kind of like, that's super duper duper American, but maybe take a shower, just like a quick rinse off, even if anything, and then have my wind down period, because all of that is basically a signal to my brain that, okay, I've eaten now, you know, and I've, you know, done my gym workout and everything, and now I'm about to totally decompress. And that's when the phone turns off. That's when, you know, I'll probably even turn off my Wi-Fi, and then put up the blackout curtain, light the candle, light the incense, pick a nice book out, you know, or if I'm not going to turn my stuff off, my digital stuff off, because I want to listen to a podcast, and find a good podcast, and, you know, really just kind of listen to it, and, you know, not try to take notes or anything, just listen to the audio, get the information in my brain. Ideally, it's something that a book that I'm listening to that I'm also trying to learn from, but at that time of night, I'm not really trying to take in that much new information because it'll get me too excited. You know, I'm trying to but I do want to fall asleep. So, you know, it might be good for my brain to be engaged up until the point where I can't engage anymore. And that will definitely happen, especially if I pick up a physical book. Listening to a podcast is one thing. But if I pick up a physical book and start reading it at night in dim light, boy, I'll be out. Like, I have to force myself to actually be engaged. Like, I go into reading the book like, okay, I'm going to learn. But then by the time you know, my brain should hit a point where I'm like, all right, now I'm getting kind of tired, and now I can actually fall asleep. Not watching a movie, even though it's great. Not watching YouTube, even though that has worked, because it just fucks with my circadian. And I just want to be able to fall asleep, you know, and I need to have a good method for, you know, improving my sleep hygiene and also my waking hygiene. You know, my wake up hygiene is just as important as my sleep hygiene. But yeah, this is it. This is what it takes. This is not balanced. This is balancing, and also just understanding that, you know, everything is in God's time, right? I'm not using God as a cop out here to say that I'm not going to get work done. At the end of the day, if I'm going to make $100 million plus as soon as I fucking can, then yeah, it's on me to do some serious fucking work. But the work that I do needs to be conducive to my goal, and it can't just be hand wavy, hustle bro bullshit. And that's it.